Alright, hello and welcome to League of Loggers. Tonight's episode is episode 18 of season 4, I believe. Tonight's our hosts are, as always, we got Curtis James, me sometimes, I am Viking Redbeard.
Like 98% of episodes.
Tonight we are talking about week 3 of the LCS Summer Split. We saw some good matches, we saw some really bad matches.
I think we saw fewer bad matches than usual.
I'll agree with that, yeah.
Because even the garbage teams right now looked better this weekend than they have the last 2 weekends.
I mean, right now we've got a team that is sitting right at the top at 6-0,
Yeah,
and on
they
the
are.
opposite end of the spectrum, we have another team sitting at 0-6 at week 3. It's just, that's painful.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I mean, kudos to the Cloud9 for pulling out another clean weekend.
Yeah.
And shame on Dignitas for sucking it up.
You know, okay, let's start with Cloud9, the quick hit, get out of the way, because they did have the one match everybody's been kind of waiting for since after week 1. They had Team Liquid. They played them on Friday night, and, I mean, they took care of business. Not to say, like, Team Liquid didn't look, good in it. Like, Team Liquid looked fine, but Cloud9, like I said, they took care of business. They just beat them around the map, and it wasn't a question of whether or not Cloud9 would win, but it was probably the closest match other than I think the one Golden Guardians put up against them, which is like great, but that's still not actually close.
Yeah.
Like, they had a small gold lead at, 15 minutes. It's like, oh, cool, but you're still not taking any objectives. And I just feel like it just felt inevitable. It's like, when's it going to happen? There's the, yep, okay, and they took Seoul, and and yep, okay, the game's over, cool. It still happened the way it keeps happening, and I don't know how Cloud9 keeps doing it to everyone.
I mean, Cloud9, so Team Liquid has traditionally been a team where they will wait for you to make mistakes, and then they will capitalize on it.
Yeah.
Cloud9 didn't really make any mistakes, and they were kind of doing the same thing to Team Liquid. They're like, we're going to wait for you to mess up, and then we're just going to punish you. And
Yeah.
it doesn't even really seem like they got punished. They just, slowly just got demolished.
Yeah, oh, no, it was complete, destruction. It's funny, because, later in the week we saw them play Immortals, and that's fast destruction. They hard camped Lorem, and just said, hey, did you feel like playing this game? Because you're not gonna. I think you went 0-6-0 or something.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't on him. It was Cloud9's strategy just crushing him. But, I mean, the team they do everything right, and you're not going to stop them. And I'm wondering what strategy it's going to take to stop these teams, because we've seen different bans coming out. Liquid focused in hard on some top tier picks. They banned out Yuumi, the Olaf, which basically has to be banned now, and then the Volibear against Cloud9. It's okay, that feels really good. And then a jungler hadn't been picked up, so they're we're going to ban away the Nocturne to keep that out of his hands. And he just picks Lee Sin, and he makes that look gross too. And it's just I don't know how you stop Blabber. I don't know how you stop Niski. You go through that whole team. It's I don't know how you stop any of them, because they all have it seems like the deepest champion pools in the league. They are the most cohesive team in the league. There's nothing about them that's not better than every single one of their opponents.
It definitely seems like Cloud9 is playing 4D chess right now, and everyone else they're not even playing checkers. They're playing let's learn to color in the lines, and they're still fucking that up. And it's just really painful to watch people play Cloud9, because they, as Kev said in the chat, that they're just on a whole different level. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely on a different level from every other team in the league. And I'm not sure how you rectify that if you're an opponent. Yeah.
Sometimes you can say, oh, jungle diff, top diff, mid diff, bot diff. Right now, it's just, there is a sizable gap between every single lane on Cloud9 and every other team.
Yeah. I mean, if you were to begin attacking this team, where would you start?
I wouldn't. I'd play a different game. I'd be like, sorry guys, we're supposed to play Cloud9 today. Feeling sick. I might go play some Rocket League.
I think I have the Rona.
I don't know. Like, I don't think there's really anything to do. Like, the only way somebody beats Cloud9 right now is if Cloud9 messes up so bad that they let you win. Like, it's not even in the other team's hands. It is purely in the hands of Cloud9 to mess it up for themselves.
Yeah, I feel that way as well. So let's drop off of Cloud9 and let's go to just the entire other side of everything. And that obviously is the 0-6 team, as you mentioned earlier, Dignitas.
Dignitas just feels... So they're making every mistake that 100 Thieves made last year. Like, they're changing their roster up. They're, like, letting people go. They're pulling in academy people. They're getting rid of academy people. It's just, like, they're just trying so hard to, like, reach their hand in the spaghetti, pot, and then chuck it against the wall and just see what sticks. And right now, nothing is sticking. Like,
yeah.
they can't... Like, if they're not able to take wins on... Like, okay, well, I mean, Evil Geniuses and Liquid was rough this week, but...
Well, so, like, I think the Liquid game's the one that has to be brought up. That was the one, actually, I saw Ducks in the chat mention, like, the game that Freak went off on them. And it was right at the end of the game. They were trying to contest Elder Drake a bit by pushing up mid, and they see that they're getting pushed in from two sides, and they don't do a damn thing about it. They just, like, let it happen. And it's like, at that point in the game, what are you doing? Like, honestly, I'm so glad Freak went off on them. Because, like, while it's happening, he's like, Dignitas, what are you doing? And then he's like, and they lose the game. And then afterwards, he, like, straight clowns on them. He's like, don't worry, though. This is a Froggen team. They got the mid farm, so we're doing something right. And he says, quote, ending one of the stupidest ways possible. Like, he absolutely called them out, and it was completely correct. Because what the fuck are you doing there?
I don't know. I feel like...
They played so well for, like, 40 minutes.
They got rid of DeMonte. Like, they got rid of DeMonte, kept Froggen, mistake number one.
The fact that they played Froggen and benched DeMonte last split was ridiculous, yeah.
The fact that they got rid of Hooney, I understand that money was an issue there, but, like, getting rid of Hooney, even though he's not the best player there is anymore,
yeah,
he still plays a little bit better than what they showed up so far this split.
Right.
Like, I just don't know. Like, they just have
Well, and it's interesting this week, they benched Viper for Lorlo, which I'm not for or against, because, oh no, the TF backdoor is a different game, Duck, by the way. That is not the same. They were getting split push from either side. The TF backdoor was TSM beating 100 Thieves, so we'll come back around to that. Yeah, like, I fully agree. Like, they seem to not have an organizational level understanding of how to make a roster.
Well, okay, so to give them just this much credit, they are new to the org, or like new to the LCS as of last split. However,
they're still, not new.
They're still Clutch.
It's Clutch, yeah.
There's still Clutch sitting behind them. That, like, I think that Clutch has a lot fewer say in what's going on than what we think they do, because Dignitas has come in and just made every wrong move possible. They're like, we need to save some money. We need to do this. We need to shed these players.
It's so weird because, like,
I think Clutch has like a 1% like ownership in this team.
I know it's like minority, but like Dig came in officially at the end of last season. Still, like when they made their runs to make Worlds, the reason they were rocking yellow and black was because it was already done. They just weren't allowed to change the name. I think it was done actually between the two splits.
Yeah.
So their summer last year was really good, and they had Vulcan, DeMonte, Hooney, Cody Sun, and Lyra. And I totally understand them not being able to hold on to all those players. I get it. but the choice to pay Huni precipitated everything else, but they still had DeMonte, and they're just like, no, we want Froggen and not going to play DeMonte. You saw those two aggressive players play together so well, and your choice is, you know what we should do? Get the most passive mid laner possible. And I'm so, like, I love Froggen, I love what he's been to League over the years, his Anivia's always fun to watch, like, farming king, you know, all that, but a mid laner who does nothing prior to 15 minutes other than sit in lane and go like even like KD wise, but like win farm is nothing. That's not how the game works anymore. If you're not roaming, if you're not destroying the lane kill wise to then get like turret pressure and shit, you've done nothing for the team. In fact, you've hurt your team. And I'm sorry, but that's what Froggen is now. All the good stats in the world doesn't make him meta, and he's not. And I don't think they have, I don't know who they have behind him, but I can't imagine it's somebody who's worth playing either. Clicking on the game instead of the team, yeah. But it's just, oh man, I don't know.
They have Phoenix behind him, which
right.
even feels worse.
Yeah, it's just, honestly, I think I'd take Phoenix over him right now.
You have to try something, but on the other hand, you really can't. Like, you really need to get some sort of, like, momentum going. Like,
yeah.
The fact that, like, okay, Afromu should be gone. Afromu...
He looked good this week, and he looked pretty good last week, too. Like, I'm not saying I want Afro on that team still, but fuck if he doesn't show up from time to time to make you second-guess it. He kind of does what Huni's been doing for a couple years, where he, like, all of a sudden he'll have, like, a string of games, and you're like, oh, that's really good. Man, you carried the team that game. Like, Afro and Johnson were the only reason they were in the games against TL and,
I think Johnson still has potential. I think
EG.
Johnson is probably who you build the rest of this team around.
Agreed.
Like,
fully agree.
Who played this week in Acadian? Like,
yeah, Acadian's been in the whole time. They swapped out Viper in the top lane for Lorlo.
That's right.
And I think Lorlo looked fine. I think he looked slightly better than Viper has.
They need to give Dardoch a chance.
I don't know why they got Dardoch, honestly. Like, if they weren't going to play him right away, what's the point? And honestly, it's not like it's going to make Froggen aggressive. I don't know. You know what they should do? They should play Dardoch in mid lane. Fuck it.
Did he used to play? He used to play AD carry, right?
I have no idea.
I could be
pro-wise, he's always been a jungler.
Okay.
Afro used to be an AD carry in pro.
Okay,
way back in, like, Season 1. Season 2.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to give that a shot.
But, like, fuck it. Like, I mean, honestly, you've got Phoenix, play Johnson, play Afro move, fine. Because I assume they don't have a worth... Yeah, they have JJ as backup support, who gives a shit. Lorlo or Viper, I think Lorlo probably looked a little better. Like, mid's the issue, currently. Because I don't think Acadians look terrible either. Has he looked great? No, but nobody looks good on a fucking shit team. The issue for me is you can't key off a mid lane that does nothing for 15 minutes in a meta that only goes twice that. Games are over in 30 minutes. If you spend the first half of the game not doing anything in the most pivotal part of the map, you're not going to get anywhere.
Oh, yeah. Mid-meta this year has just been insane. Like, you have to be mobile. You can't just chill in your lane, otherwise everyone else around you is going to lose.
Yeah.
Like, for as important as mid has been, like, other metas, this is not the meta where mid is where you want to focus. Like, you need to be going up top, you need to be helping, you need to be roaming bottom, you need to be helping.
Yeah, it's an active mid.
Yeah.
Exactly, because we're seeing it in, Jizuke. Jizuke is looking so good on EG. Because he's like, I'm going to play Corki, and I'm going to be bot lane for this gank, and I'm going to go top here, and we're going to be at Drake. Like, he's all over the fucking place, and it's fucking fantastic. And Froggen is the antithesis of that.
Yeah, it's painful to watch him just sit there and flounder. Like, I don't know. I think Dig is going to have a really rough time pulling any wins if they don't, like, I don't know what changes that they can realistically make.
Yeah.
And I just think that they're going to flounder real hard the rest of the split.
Yeah. Well, let's move from a team that we don't know can make roster moves but needs to, so to one team that did and another team that is in the process of making a roster move. This past week, Immortals, they had fired their coach, Zabutin,
I saw
and their
that.
GM. I can't remember what his name is. They fired both of them, and like the day matches started, all of a sudden everybody found out, hey, by the way, the whole 5 that were playing, including Potluck, who was playing instead of Xmithy the past 2 weeks, yeah, all of them benched the 5 who were playing Academy in. So we saw Alorum, Xmithy, can't remember the mid laner who played over Aka.
Insanity.
Yeah, Insanity, thank you. And then instead of Gate and Altec, we saw Apollo and Hakuho. So 3 old school names: Apollo, Hakuho, and Xmithy. And for those of you who are really old school, Apollo is WizFusion. So we have those 3, and then 2 completely rookies, Insanity and Alorum. And they won their first fucking game. Like, that team had no wins. They put those in, and they beat Golden Guardians in a fairly closely contested game. Of course, they had Cloud9 to deal with after that, and as I mentioned earlier, they camped top lane and made Alorum's life hell, unfortunately for him. But I like that the management decided that there was an issue, that it had to do with roster management, and said, okay, the 2 people who are in charge of roster management, coach, GM, you're gone. They brought in their Overwatch League manager to, or coach, one of the two. Somebody from their Overwatch team is the person who's interim handling this team now.
I did not read all of that.
Yeah.
I missed.
So he came in and was just like, yeah, we're swapping in this crew because they're 3-3 in Academy. Fuck it. And I think more so it was, we've got 3, tried and true players in jungle and bot lane, bot duo. And we've got these 2 players who have good potential. Let's put you 5 in because you've been playing together for 2 weeks. Let's see how you do. And I think overall it's an improvement. Honestly, I've been complaining about Aka and Soaz for a while, so I was really glad to see Insanity and Alorum play. And I think they have absolutely earned the right to play another few weeks. I'm not saying 1 more week. They should play for at least, probably 3 more weeks through most of the rest of the season because this team's already looking terrible. They've got 1 win. Now, granted, you're 18 playoff, so you're barely out of playoffs. But give them a shot to prove it, because I think they can.
Yeah, which is so sad after Aka's first split. Was last split his first split, or was he around the end of last year?
Aka was he was new this year, so okay. He played all of spring.
He looked very promising first split. It looked like he had potential.
So. Yeah.
I didn't say he was the best player on the team, but he definitely looked like he had potential to grow and get better.
Because for a while, Immortals looked like they might make playoffs. They were in the middle of the pack for for about the first half of the season, and then they just didn't win a game for 4 weeks or some shit. 2 weeks they just went completely without it. Oh, okay. It was over the course of 3 weeks. They went 1-1, 0-2, 1-1. And that's when they dropped out of playoff contention and they never got back in. They started the season looking pretty good, though. You're right. It was 5-2 out of their first, 7 games. Not bad.
Yeah, it was right around week 5 when everything went to shit for them, and then they never really recovered.
Yeah. So, what do you think of this full? We'll call it an Academy roster, which is a bit disingenuous because Apollo, Hakuho, and Xmithy are LCS players. But what did you think of the switchover as a whole?
They got a win. They looked better than they did last week, or the week before.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard. I think maybe these players that are on their main roster will either kick it into gear or they're just going to get replaced for good.
Yeah. No, I absolutely. And I think some of them should be. I don't think Aka has improved to the point where he should be played going forward. I think Soaz's time is done. I think he could be a very valuable resource for making Alorum better, but I don't think he's a resource for winning games anymore.
Yeah, the thing that sucks is that do you really want somebody that's been performing really poorly for quite a while try to coach your new people?
Well, so when you're talking about a old school pro like Soaz, been around since season 2, yes. It's like in the NBA, you have this player who's he's way too old to play, but he's on a roster and he never sees he never gets off the bench, but his whole point is to teach the younger players. And since Alorum's a straight up rookie, there's a lot Soaz could teach him. It's like, I can teach you how the game flow is, but you're a better player than I am.
The difference with that specific analogy is that the NBA has largely not changed at all. You still
No, it's massively changed over the last 4 years because the Golden State Warriors in 3-pointers.
Fair.
Yeah.
The goal is to still take the ball and put it in the hoop on the other side.
And the goal is still to kill the Nexus on the other team.
Yeah, but you don't have fucking people tripping you on the court and fucking dragons flying at your dome.
I mean, the game changes because people who played back in the late 90s, it was a very physical game, and it's not that anymore. But there are skills that can be transferred. They're tricks of the trade. Soaz is famous for teleporting out of situations where he should be fucking dead. And you see a few other players do that. But that's a game sense that can somewhat be taught. Especially, I don't know how they do it, but I would think in scrims it wouldn't be a bad idea to have it where the veteran is sitting over, Soaz is sitting over Alorum's shoulder, and just every now and then be like, hey, as the veteran you're coaching him, 3 times in a game, I want you to be like, you should fucking do that. Yo, look at this. Check the, little thing, little nuggets. Just be like, hey, why aren't you looking at that? Or maybe just in VOD review, whatever. Just be like, so you're doing this here, right? Yeah. Okay, and you see this guy, yeah? And you saw the jungler there a bit earlier, right? Yeah. Well, 5 minutes ago you saw him here, yeah? So this is his path, and the gank's coming to you, there's shit that you learn just through years of experience, and it becomes innate knowledge, and it's so much it's so much faster to acquire that knowledge when somebody can explain it to you, rather than just having to, die 20 times to it before you start to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely see where you're coming from. I just think that, with all of the changes that happened during the preseason this year, the dragons, the soul, the maps changing.
There's massive change every year, though. It was Plants the year before that.
Not quite to this.
Plants, dude. Rift Scuddler, Rift Herald. I can go back every preseason. It's ridiculous. And between this season and next season, they're doing a full item rework.
Yeah.
It's I know you haven't been playing the game since fucking 2012, but granted, the Dragon and the Rift changes feel really big, but I actually don't think they're as big as some of the other changes. I think Plants were probably one of the biggest changes of all time. Actually, the biggest change is when they completely reworked Vision and made trinkets, and actually before that, the support items. You probably remember that, right? The transforming support item. It was
I've played in the last year.
You remember that. Well, no, not the support items that exist now. The one that did before that, where it looked like a little blue rock eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back when I started, you could just buy fucking green and pink trinkets, and you put them wherever the fuck you want, and there was no limit.
Yeah, no, that's definitely
that was probably the biggest change, was when it went from, I played support at that time, and it was, I had a Oracle's Elixir, which you can still get on ARAM. You would buy that, it sustained through death, and you would just run around with fucking Moby boots, clearing wards and dropping shit everywhere. Also, pink wards were invisible, so you just bought pink wards. The game, when they changed that, changed so much. And and they've continued to choke down Vision so that the game isn't just hey, light up the whole fucking map and know everything that's going on. But yeah, big changes happen. And Soaz made it through all those changes. He learned from these changes too. I just don't think he's good enough to play anymore.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think Immortals made the right move by making a change. I don't know how much it'll help. I don't see them being a Worlds contender. But I do think they can pull themselves out of the bottom tier, the bottom 2, and possibly make playoffs if they're lucky.
Who are their import slots right now?
With the crew they put in?
No their normal crew.
It was Soaz and Aka.
Okay.
So with who's in right now, literally all NA.
Okay.
right? Apollo, Hakuho, yeah, I think Insanity and Alarm are both NA, and I know Xmithia is, so I believe it's a full NA Yeah, no, because I saw a comment on Reddit that a full NA, it was the first time a full NA roster has, like, looked this good in a while or something, like just being a joke, but yeah.
Like, they probably should go back to the drawing board on Soaz and Ica then, and then maybe try to find
Yeah.
some better imports to bring in.
And actually, I want to go off, Duck said, so I should do what Darshan / Zion Spartan is doing in Academy and teaching a new player. Honestly, I even think Darshan, well, he's Zion Spartan now again, but Zion Spartan is kind of doing what I feel like Cloud9 has done to some players, and we've seen other players do as well. Taking some time on Academy can kind of reignite the fire behind older players who have become a little bit complacent, and I think Zion Spartan's looking good enough that a team could start him. I not any team, but and I wouldn't say Immortals now, but Immortals could have started him over Soaz, I think. Like there's I think Dignitas could start him over possibly Lorlo and Viper. You know, there's a few teams like I think going to Academy can be used well. And that actually this perfect brings us into 100 Thieves, who just announced changes yesterday. Both Meteos and Stunt are not starting this week. Meteos he can either be part of a 6-man roster or on Academy, blah, blah, like that's all up in the air. Stunt is done with the organization. They are starting Poom and Contracts. Poom will be starting for the LCS roster. They're keeping Breezy, who was their Academy support. He's staying in Academy. Contracts is moving up. I would assume Meteos is assumed to be the Academy jungler, unless, he refuses that role, I guess, and then they'll find somebody else.
Well, I mean, with all the drama that he kind of started this week, like he called out his general manager, his coach, one other player, or like one other
Well,
person.
he said that it was the GM, Papa Smithy, and the coach, Zix, and their strategic coach. So it was those three that he called out as not even being on the team, and they made the decision. It's like, actually, I'm going to get in that a bit. I want to say first, though, this team has Someday on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You will remember, Someday sat on Academy bench a whole split while they started, they brought back in, like, Ryu to play in the mid lane, and I can't remember who they played in the top lane over him. Fake God, I believe. And I didn't like that. Then I thought Someday was better. But Someday has come back from Academy. He was quiet, he grounded out, and he beat the shit out of kids in Academy. And he's come back looking better because of it. And that is the way you handle going to Academy and taking a benching. Not the way Meteos did, personally. But, yeah, so he called out those three. And I think a lot of that is Meteos comes from a older time in League where the team was just 5 players, and they made all the fucking decisions. There wasn't a coaching staff for a lot of the time, or if they did have a coaching staff, it was 4 of the players would be like, this kid ain't cutting it, we need somebody fucking new, blah, like, we want this guy, blah, blah. That's not the way it is anymore. It's a sport now.
Yeah.
You as a player, as part of a team, are too close to the situation, and if the players themselves are making the decisions of somebody should have to go, that just builds animosity, and it makes it harder to work together.
Yeah. And
so I get where Meteos is coming from. He deleted the things, and him and Papa Smithy had a conversation afterwards. And I love Papa Smithy. He did Hotline League, and he was very, very forthcoming about it. And he's like, I don't hold any animosity to him. I understand where he's coming from. Yeah. I fully want him with our organization still. And like, we want to find the right place for him with us if he wants to be here. So I think Papa Smithy's doing everything right, and he is having that, human connection where it's like, I get it. Like, nobody likes to be fucking fired. And that's basically what happened.
Yeah, he just didn't need to throw a fit about it. Like, I
mean,
he would have had way more options had he not thrown a fit and not tried to burn bridges. Like, because now I bet they're trying to get rid of him. Like, they're like, let's just wipe our hands of him. Let's get rid of him.
It didn't sound like the interviews Papa Smithy did.
No, I know that the interviews sounded like that they were. I watched that video today, and Papa Smithy very much did. Is like, well, we'll either try to put him on academy, we'll try to find somewhere else for him within the organization, whether that be like a coach or something. But like, no, I know what he said, but Medios, he is very lucky that they're willing to extend an olive branch after throwing a hissy fit. Well, like that's something a child does, not somebody that's been in like playing League for 10 years.
Yeah, well, and like so on Hotline League, I mean, it's something that Medios even tweeted out. It's like, hey, it's 2 years later, the same fucking thing just happened. It was the same week of the same split that he was getting benched. Like when 100 Thieves when they were heading
better.
No, I get it, but like it feels shitty to be like complete deja vu. Same org, same split, same week, the same fucking things happening. It feels shitty, and I totally agree. Like, well, yeah, your team's 0-6. Like some people are the issue. I think Stunt's the main issue, but I also understand that Papa Smithy was saying Contracts has been looking very good and shown a lot of progress in Academy, and so we think we want to try that as well. And he also, on Hotline League, he made a lot of points about how Medios has been a shot caller, he's been a big voice on the team, and that's really important, and he has a lot of knowledge that he's imparted to starting players already, but, you know, there's more to be done, because, like, once again, veteran player, been around a long time, and as a jungler, he probably understands the holistic point of the game more than most lanes do.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know that. Like, you as a jungler, like, you understand a little bit about mid-pressure, top pressure, bot pressure, and most of those lanes don't know the opposite fucking lanes, and they don't know jungle worth shit.
Oh, yeah.
And so, obviously, you know jungle.
Jungle, where are you at? I don't know, helping bot win? I'm 0-5. Well, that sucks. Play better.
Why are you clearing Raptors? Because, bitch, I ain't cleared it in 5 minutes, and if I leave it there, I'm wasting XP, asshole. Yeah, I totally get it. And I think, though, Papa wants a veteran player with that kind of knowledge, and we've seen him on the analyst disc. Will is smart as fuck. He knows this game. And I think the ultimate goal of 100 Thieves would be to turn him into a coach.
Yeah, I think that would be a good way to go. I think that he may have hindered himself to getting there, though. True.
I agree. But I don't think I think he would be hindering himself in that it'd be a slower process, not that the org wants to get rid of him. Because I think, like, yeah, he has that outburst, and it's like, well, he still has a passion for the game. He still gives a fuck.
That's true.
I want a coach who gives a fuck.
Yeah, but there's a difference between passion and throwing a hissy fit.
No, maturity is necessary, especially in coaching. Because if a player disagrees with you as a coach, you can't just go back in their face. You have to like break it down and be like, I understand why you feel that way, but let's go over stats. Let's go over that. Let's do a thought process breakdown. You can't just like be a douche.
Yeah, I just don't think he has the maturity there. I hope that he gets there very quickly and he figures it out, because otherwise he burned bridges for a possible semi-lucrative career going forward.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's going to make more money being a coach than if he's just done with League.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. So he's being subbed out for contracts. I think it's funny because that's the jungler who replaced him back on Cloud9 years ago now. So it's like, wow, shit, deja vu there. But also, Stunt going out for Poom. Personally, I really like that move for 2 reasons. One, I feel like Stunt has been the source of way too many small losses they've taken throughout close games. Like, games really close and all of a sudden it's like, and Stunt took the wrong path to safety. He gets caught out, he dies, now it's a 4v5, the other team gets an objective or 2, and, like, 100 Thieves can't engage because, it's, you know, it's a bad fight. You know, they're missing their Nautilus. It's like, well, we can't engage. We don't have a fucking Nautilus. You know, things like that are happening too much. And also, from the opposite end of that, Poom is somebody that this organization only brought in 5 months ago, apparently. Papa Smithy, once again, I remember, last season, I was like, beginning of last split, I was like, biggest win. I was like, Papa Smithy. Or was it last year already? No, it was this year.
It was just last split.
Yeah, I'm like, biggest win. I said, 100 Thieves getting Papa Smithy because I thought he was going to really make big changes in this org. And here we go. We see him making changes to a team that's struggling after they were good last split. And he had also started this thing, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like 100 Thieves, I don't know, like investigation or something. I don't know what it's called. It's called something. But basically, they're going out, and players who aren't 18 can't play on Academy. So he's going out and he's finding these players who are basically mostly high schoolers. So they can't.
Our document doesn't have anything for 100 Thieves on it?
What? Yeah, it does.
Where?
100 Thieves? What
Okay.
do you fucking...
on the left side.
Yeah, no, left side got cut off. I need to change the margin.
Okay, sorry. I was looking at. I was like trying to look. I was like 100 Thieves. How did they do last split?
Third.
They didn't exist.
They were. They were like fourth. Basically, they tied it last moment, and so they ended up second in the regular season, and then they lost to Cloud9. Blah, blah. But yeah. So anyway, they've gone out and they've scouted these players who aren't eligible for Academy yet, and they're still like bringing them in, and having them do scrims and coaching and shit. And Poom is one of these players. So 5 months ago, they grabbed this kid, and they have been, coaching him and shit, and they thought he's improved so much that now that he's eligible for Academy and whatever, but, like, Breezy had already been playing, so they weren't going to kick Breezy off Academy because he's also improving. And like, you know what? We think you have the bigger upshot. You can learn the most from LCS. He's jumping over Breezy and playing LCS this week.
I hope it looks good, and honestly...
Even if it looks bad for a week, fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that the fact that, like, he doesn't have to go into the studio and sit on a stage with 100 people in the crowd or whatever, I think that this is going to be a great, like, transition into, like, being able to kind of play in the big leagues.
Yeah. Quick thing, I know Rush replaced Meteos, but I thought then Rush left, Meteos came back for a moment, and then Contracts came back in. But I could be wrong. You could be right. Could have gone Meteos, Rush, and then Contracts. But I think 100 Thieves have shown kind of almost a Cloud9 style eye for what to do with talent if Contracts and or Poom work. Because I think Ryoma, especially this past week, looked very good. I said over last split that he went from being the worst. Him and Aiko were like the worst mids in the league at the start of the split. And by the end of it, I was like, Ryoma looks alright. And then this split, he was looking better. And this last week, he played Azir twice, and he looked really, really good on that Azir. Like, he hard carried them to an attempt at a win. Like, the game against CLG, the game against TSM, and I'll get that highlight queued up. That was the one where the backdoor for Bjergsen's TF happened, and it was so disappointing, because that Azir was trying its fucking damnedest to keep them in the game. Like, honestly, there's a fight near TSM's base where Azir got picked off early, and I was like, oh shit, that's the game. That's the game because Azir died, and Azir's been everything so far this game. But, no, like, I think Ryoma has shown that the potential Papa Smithy and the rest of the coaching staff saw in him is justified. Now, is he going to become a Jensen Bjergsen-Niski? Who knows? Would I put my money on it? No. But if he can become, like, a Pobelter, that's fucking valuable.
I mean, you have to give some of these guys a little bit of slack considering it's, like, first split, first year. Like, they just haven't had time to kind of build up the skills and whatnot. So... like, I think if you give some of these players that may not be performing nearly as well as we want them to right now, if you give them a little bit of time to kind of acclimate a little bit, like and you don't want to really waste your money on players and you try to, like, swap things out, but, like, if you give some of these people, like, time to develop and time to kind of learn the trade a little bit more, like, I think that we do have potential, but so many teams are like, oh crap, we lost. Whose fault was it? Sorry, you're gone.
Right.
And it's just like, well, I've only been playing for a split. Give me this much slack here.
And I think Ryoma and Eika are perfect examples of that. They both played all of last split. And I don't feel like we saw a improvement from Eika worthy of staying by this point, right? He played all of last split and 2 weeks this split. And I feel like he was probably the worst mid in the split, and that's with Froggen doing nothing for 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that feels bad is that most of the rookies that have come out and done really well, what team do they play for?
Cloud9.
Cloud9. So
but
it's like
then we're seeing, like, Ryoma, though, and, like, I think finally some other teams giving a shit.
Yeah, and I hope so. I hope that this like pans out. I hope he continues to do well and grow. But like, I mean, when you already happen to be the top org or top 1-2 orgs year after year,
Right.
like pulling in a rookie, like you've got real talent around you to help you grow and like blossom into
Yeah.
a pretty little flower.
And it's been well documented that Reaper had, and he's just straight up said it, that when we bring in a new player, the team strategy is new player, what do you want? What style do you want to play? What character do you know, what champion do you want to play? What do you think the focus of the game is? And they play around that because making the least experienced player the most comfortable is the best for the team. And so few teams do that. And granted, so few teams have the ability to do that the way Cloud9 has. But I think it's really promising all of a sudden this split now, especially with these couple changes we've seen. We have more rookies right now in the league than we've seen in so fucking long. I know Spica's probably not technically a rookie because he did playoffs, but you have Spica on TSM. You have Ryoma was a rookie last split. You have Insanity and Alorum now on Immortals playing. You have Johnson, who was a rookie last split. You have Tactical, who's a rookie, because he only played 2 games last split, I believe. Or maybe he played 3. I think he played 3, yeah. So maybe he's not technically a rookie. Like, you have so many more new players than fucking in so long, and it's about goddamn time. And I hope we see more teams make moves like that, even if it's bringing in some older players who haven't been seen in forever, like Mash. Mash hasn't been seen in years. To bring him in over Turtle is fine, because, well, at least you're fucking trying something.
We need Tyler 1 to replace Mash. I think he would do well.
No, please no. I can never like FlyQuest again if they bring in Tyler 1. Unless he completely drops to the persona and he's actually like a nice fucking guy.
I bet he is a nice guy.
If outside of his persona he's actually like Dwayne Johnson, like great, but I doubt it.
I mean, when I see him interact, like when he was like on stage and doing stuff with like the folks, like when he was talking to Avali and like talking to like those other people, like.
But when you see him in game, he's still like raging and like fucking doing douchey shit and saying, "Oh, I'm gonna take my role anyway," and he runs shit down mid sometimes, like.
Yeah. But he also makes a lot of money doing that
shit. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Hitler made a lot of money too. No, I'm kidding.
Wow.
I didn't do what's the principle that an internet argument always devolves to Hitler eventually.
Saw a new one yesterday. Apparently a goose in flip-flops, sandals of some sort.
What?
I don't know. It was in the Discord the other
That's
day.
who they should hire a goose in flip-flops to play AD carry. No. Mash has looked very good, but like I'm glad we're seeing teams finally play new talent, and these teams aren't Cloud9 for once.
Yeah, but the problem is that since they aren't Cloud9, I bet that they get dropped very quickly when they don't produce instant results.
Johnson and Tactical aren't going anywhere.
Because I think Johnson's actually pretty darn good.
I think both of them are.
I think that Johnson's best bet is to get off of Dignitas and go somewhere else.
Sadly, you're probably right. But also, 100 Thieves, though, they've held on to Ryoma for a full split, and he's looking better. I don't see him going anywhere. In fact, when they were like, oh, we're 0-6 making changes, they didn't bump out Ryoma. And once again, Hotline League with Papa Smithy, people had commented about... Oh, I forgot his name. Who did they play in mid last year? Started with an S. Soligo.
Oh yeah.
Last season before Papa Smithy was there, and he said he's like, I think people judge Soligo too quickly. He was on a failing team and didn't make that team win, and so they got rid of him. And people have signed off Soligo forever, and I think that's wrong. And I agree with him.
Yeah, I think Soligo's that's the point I was just making.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you agree with him too. Both Papa Smithy and I agree with Chase because Chase is correct. We need to not instantly judge these players, especially when you're on bad teams. I'm glad DeMonte's on Golden Guardians again because I think he should be. I feel a little bad for Golden Glue, but I also think DeMonte has. I know DeMonte's played less LCS. And so he should be able to prove himself more. I was mad at Golden Guardians last, but when Keith was obviously improving as a support, and when he got them into playoff contention, they bumped him out for fucking Huhi. And like Huhi's still playing the fucking support role. I think if you're serious as an organization, you should be playing neither of them as support. But if you're serious about trying to develop talent, you sure as fuck don't swap in Huhi and then continue. Like, if Keith's not playing support, fucking fuck off right now, Golden Guardians. Find another support. Go grab Stunt. I don't give a shit.
Don't grab Stunt.
Better than Huhi, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'll give 100 Thieves a little bit of a benefit of the doubt here. I will give them a couple weeks here to kind of see how things go, but and Immortals too. But I feel like if 3 weeks, if they're not pulling more wins, they're gonna roster swap everybody again.
Immortals, I think they'll swap. I don't know who they'll swap. It depends on where they're failing, because I don't think they're gonna automatically swap out both Alorum and what's his name? It starts with an I. Insanity, thank you. I don't think they'll swap both of them out. I think they would swap one out.
Okay.
To see, like, okay, which one of these rookies is worse? And honestly, I think right now, NA is more, especially with these recent switches, NA is more talent dense than it's been in a while. And that's great, but it also, makes it harder to determine who's actually the problem on a team. Some teams it seems fairly obvious. I thought Stunt was a fairly obvious issue on 100 Thieves. And it's possible, when you take down comms and you're doing a full VOD breakdown that, yeah, Meteos was an issue too. When you look at Immortals, they were never winning mid. They were never winning top. Well, guess what? You're not going to win the rest of the map. I thought Potluck was fine, but I get that they did like a full team synergy swap. I think Potluck could see success elsewhere possibly going forward. I don't know that he'll retake that spot from McSmithy, but maybe if the team's struggling just like jungle-wise, maybe Potluck will come back, because I don't think he looked bad.
Yeah.
Obviously, Golden Guardians, their bot lane is lacking. You're not going to tell me FBI and Hui are fucking putting up numbers.
Ooh, we need to get Johnson onto Golden Guardians. That'd be
there you go. With who, though? Because if you're telling me he's going to play with Hui...
No.
I'm going to
fucking... needs to go away. I want to bring up what Duck said in chat about Vulcan writing him off, because I said that 2-3 weeks ago where I was just like...
so right.
I was like... I thought Vulcan was terrible. I don't think that he should be playing anymore.
You thought it a whole split ago.
Oh, yeah, a whole split ago.
Yeah.
But I brought it up 2-3 weeks ago. Like, I brought it up in like one of our first show. I was just like, he got one of the best fucking ends of the deal. Because I was talking about Vulcan and Tactical.
Yeah, you did.
Because I was like, Tactical landed on Team Liquid. I was like, that's a baller move. Like, good for him. And then Vulcan going to Cloud9, I was just like, I wrote him off, and then he's shown up.
Yeah.
And I was just like, when you play around good people, you can be good.
I'm going to continue taking credit. I thought Vulcan looked really good. I thought that most of that clutch roster was really good. I thought Lyra needed to go, and if you could upgrade Huni, you needed to.
Okay,
That's what I thought.
I wasn't necessarily saying he was like bad, garbage, like low
Being
tier.
the best support in the league is different.
Going from clutch to Cloud9, like that's a stretch. Like that's a stretch by any means.
And clutch, what it was to Cloud9, what it was is not that big of a gap. But clutch / current Dignitas to current Cloud9, holy shit!
Yeah,
jumping off a fucking burning ship, that's for sure.
Yeah, lucky. Like I said, he's like the luckiest mofo of this season.
He knows it. There's been some interviews where he's like, "I'm so glad." He's like, because he has said like when originally he got told by the heads of Dignitas that like, "Hey, you're not going anywhere." He's like, "All right, good," because like we've got a core here. And then we're like, "Hey," and like months later they're like, "Hey, you're gonna go to Cloud9. I'm sorry, but like." It's a move we gotta do.
Sorry.
Right. Well, because they had promised him, like, he was staying. Like, he was part of the core team they were building. It makes sense, because we know how fucking good he is now. Like, that, it was like, okay, sorry that I said, you're staying. You're absolutely staying. And that eventually became a lie. It wasn't a lie at the time, but it became one.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, broken promise, I guess, is better. And, like, so they were like, I'm sorry. And he was, like, disappointed, because, like, he was really enjoying playing with Huni and Damonte and Cody Sun. Lucky for him, the only fucking one of those they kept was Huni. And then he ended up on a team where he's like, I don't know how this shit's gonna go, but they're like, immediately it went fucking amazing. Oh shit. I don't know. FBI is also good, just needs a better support. I think FBI is better than he looks. I still think he is one of the worst AD carries in the league.
Yeah.
Because, like, seriously, if you're going to break it down, like...
Break it down.
Break it down. Like, who you got? You got Cody on 100 Thieves? Better. Sven on Cloud9? Better.
Well, obviously.
Stixay?
Who's better? Wilt Chamberlain or this kid in a wheelchair? Who's gonna dunk? Obviously, Wilt.
Not only did Chase use a sports reference, he used, like, an old school best of all time reference. Holy shit.
So I played a lot of NBA Volume 2. NBA Street Volume 2.
Oh, is Wilt the Stilton there?
Oh fuck.
On, like, the all-time team? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
CLG, though, Stixay, okay, you can start making an argument. Dignitas, Johnson. I think Johnson's upcoming, and I think he's better than FBI. Evil Geniuses, bang, better. FlyQuest. Wild Turtle, you could maybe argue. MASH, you could maybe argue.
Wild Turtle's another one that I think that could potentially go over to Golden Guardians and be an improvement.
Agreed. Okay, possibly, though. I think they're around the same level, so you could see. So Wild Turtle and MASH on FlyQuest. Then you go to Golden Guardian. We're skipping over that, obviously. Immortals, Apollo, and Altec. I think FBI is probably around there. Cool. TL, Tactical's better. TSM, Double F's better. So great. He matches up with 2-3 other teams in the league. Like, I don't think he's bad. I just think the level of AD carry in NA is high. I think the level of most roles in NA are good enough right now that if you don't have a higher ceiling than you're showing currently, there's fucking no point. And I don't feel like FBI is one of those players who has a much higher cieling than he's currently showing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me, but I think Golden Guardians made the right move bringing in DeMonte, and I like DeMonte to play alongside Closer, and they're making moves. I like that FlyQuest. Not only did they make the move to put in Solo for Viper in the playoffs, but now they're making another move. That's a team that's focused on slight improvements. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing as a league is necessary. So, God, I've gone over most of my little things. Wukong was finally played. Thank you, Licorice. I bet we see a shitload of Wukong next week. And I know for a fact, because of an interview with Travis Gafford, that Licorice has like 2 or 3 Wukong counters prepared. So they're not going to ban Wukong, and if other teams pick it, he's going to be like, oh, by the way, if you pick Wukong, this shit's on it. Volibear is actually one of those, though, and everybody widely knows it. So Volibear being popular at the same time as Wukong is an important dichotomy.
One of the things that I did want to bring up is looking at last split, this column where I see so much red. CLG has already won more matches this split than they did the entirety of last split.
3 wins last split, 4 wins so far.
Like, they are up and then down, and then they're up again.
Actually,
so I mean, like, last year, summer split, they were hot.
Yeah.
Spring split this year, they were not, and then they're kind of hot again.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely... They went from second to last to right now tied for second with a lot of the league.
Yeah.
So I got a fun little thing here. I've got teams' differences last split to this split. How many games ahead or behind they are their pace from last split. There are 2 teams who are exactly where... I'm sorry, 3 teams who are exactly where they were last split.
Cloud9.
Cloud9's obvious. Yep, TSM, they won all their games.
And FlyQuest?
You're right with TSM. So well done there. Golden Guardians is actually the other team.
Oh,
Golden Guardians started cold last split as well. In fact, I'll show you. You guys can't see their graph. Chase can. They almost exactly followed the curve. They got their first win earlier, but they moved up, but they kind of plateaued earlier, and their second win happened at the same time. So right now is when they went on their win streak to get themselves in playoff contention last split. All right, so there are 3 teams who are doing worse and 4 teams who are doing better than they were last split. Let's go with the 3 teams who were doing worse.
Dig. 100 Thieves and Immortals. I'm just gonna go bottom 3.
Crushed it. You nailed it. How out of those 3, none of them are only 1 game behind where they were. There were at least 2. One's 2 games behind, 2 or 3 games behind. Who are they?
Dig is 3 games behind.
Damn right, because they haven't won a fucking game yet. And they started 3-0 last split.
100 Thieves is 2 games behind. And was it 3-2-1? Were those my options, or were
3-3-2?
3-3-2. Ooh.
So Dig was 3. You have that right. So you have a 3 and a 2 left for Immortals and 100.
I'm gonna say Immortals is the 2, and 100 Thieves is the 3.
No,
Oh,
Immortals
man.
made a late run. Whereas, I'm sorry, 100 made a late run to get into that tie for second. Whereas Immortals started off early and then ended up missing playoffs. So it's actually they're 3 games behind.
Womp womp.
All right, so CLG, EG, FlyQuest, and Team Liquid are our remaining teams. We have a team that's 1 ahead, a team that 2 teams that are 2 ahead, and one that is 3 games ahead. Who are they?
I'm gonna say EG was 3 ahead. I think they had a rocky start last split.
They did have a fairly slow start. You're right.
But not 3.
Not
Womp womp.
3.
Okay.
Who's our 3 games ahead?
CLG.
Yeah, because they already have 1 more game than they won all split. It's CLG. You're absolutely right. Because they won their first game, the second game of week 2, and they did not win again until their second game of week 5.
Means FlyQuest is 2. And then Evil Geniuses must be 2 as well.
You have TL in there as well.
Oh, shit.
You have a 2-2 and a 1. TL, FlyQuest, and EG. Who's your 1?
TL? No, they're a 2. TL is 100% a 2. FlyQuest will say 1. What was my last one? TSM's a 1, yeah.
TL and EG.
EG
And
is
so
the 1.
those 2 no, you have 2 2s. So you
God
just
damn
have
it.
1-1. FlyQuest, TL, EG. Who's a 1?
The 1 is FlyQuest.
You are correct. The 1 is FlyQuest. Because FlyQuest had a pretty decent split all last split, so they're only 1 ahead of where they were last split. And TL, of course, had a pretty bad split, and they're 2 ahead of that. As is EG, who had a really slow start, kind of like 100 Thieves, and came on heavy late. So yeah. Interesting league we have going on right now. Basically, Dignitas and Immortals sucking ass while everybody else looks better.
Well, I mean, 100 Thieves is still kind of down there. They did make a change and get a win.
100
but
Thieves is looking worse too, but
we'll
Immortals
we'll give them a week or 2 to kind of sort their shit out.
Yeah. All right. Any other things from the chat before we call it an episode?
I'm pleasantly surprised with how Evil Geniuses played.
Yeah, Cloud9 has not improved compared to last split. You are absolutely right. Cloud9 is not able to improve until game 1 of week 7. They literally cannot do better until that point.
So, do you think that we're gonna see them
18-0?
Do you think? Like, I mean, they do look leaps and bounds better, and the only way they lose is if they throw.
Okay, leaps and bounds better than everybody else, yes. A little better than last split, yes. But I think everybody else looks more better from last split than they did last split.
Maybe not everyone. I think Evil Geniuses looks a lot better.
The top
I think
4.
TSM's already looking a little bit better. CLG is looking fucking shit ton better.
Yeah,
Team
TL
Liquid-
looks way better.
Yeah.
CLG's overperforming right now, but they're better. TL's way better than they were. TSM's a little better than they were, maybe. FlyQuest is about the same, but could improve now with MASH. And EG is a little bit better for sure. Cloud9 also a little bit better. I think the fact that they have so far beaten TL, EG, and FlyQuest is important. I don't expect the 18-0, but it's just as possible this split as it was last split, despite the other teams being better, because I think those other teams being better means better scrims for Cloud9, and it allows them to improve. The 18-0 is not off the table. I would just say it's probably a 30% shot. 30-70.
My hot take right now is that if Cloud9 is going to lose a game in the first half, it's going to be to CLG.
They already beat CLG in the first half, didn't they? Oh no, they play CLG next.
That's my hot take. If they're going to lose, in the first half, it's going to be to CLG.
I would have said TSM, but I think TSM's drafts are pretty garbage. All right, yeah, no, that's a hot take, and I think that's where to to head out on. So that's going to do it for us here, episode 18 and 0.
Whoop, whoop.
League of Loggers. Guys, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Love you. Hugs and kisses.
Bye.